Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach AFL channel. In today's video, we're looking at the AFL Round 10 review for SuperCoach 2023. And as you can see there, another decent week for myself, 2,476, which seems like a really big score, but it was only about 18k for the round, so top 10%. I did see a 2,600 in some team. And it could have easily been a 27 or a 2,800. We'll have a look at the top scorer for the round, I suppose, as part of this. But yeah, as you can see, up in the ranks slightly, so just into the top 9k now, which is very nice. So if we have a look at the team, starting with the defence, so Jordan Dawson with a 92. So he's been a bit down the last couple of weeks, but he's a keeper, so we don't stress about that. Jack's evil, so he hasn't. First time he hasn't turned up in a while, I think. So he still made money, so that's nice. That's how well he's been going. We'll take that. Day cost with an even 100. That's nice. Will Day, so apparently got a bit of a tag, which is why he got 74. So we won't panic on that. I think that's okay. Buckley, so 62. I think at one stage it was looking like he was going to go sub 50, so that's okay. But you can see he has dipped in price now and has a monster break even, so we'll have to address that. Chase Jones, so 79, so on average, slight dip in price, but he's ticking along at D6. I think that's not the worst score to get at the moment. Ideally, we would have had Weddle there though with 114. So obviously the Hawks did all right against the Eagles on the weekend. So probably don't expect that from him every week. But then again, we weren't expecting big scores from Humphrey every week, and he went big again. So that's okay. We'll deal with that. So Constable still not playing. Probably won't play anytime soon. It is what it is. So into the midfield, so we captained Bontempelli. As you can see, we VC'd Oliver. Decided to roll the dice on a 120 and got a 112. So it's all much for muchness. Obviously, we've got some bigger scores coming up, but that's, neither here nor there. They're super consistent. Unfortunately for us, Clayton Oliver seemed to get injured and could be out for up to 4 weeks. So we've got to make a decision there. So in hindsight, we instead of trading him and Sharp, we should have gone Merritt and Humphrey. But you make those calls, and sometimes it doesn't go your way. Noah Anderson. So since we bought him in, he's been a bit disappointing, but we got him for the buy coverage, so we do have to hold, I think, and ride that out. And obviously, as soon as we can, we'll upgrade him. Hopefully he's still got a fair bit of cash on him at that time. Sarong with a 135, so yeah, he's doing really well since we bought him in. That's pretty cool. Josh Kelly 106, anything over 100 is good. Tom Green 119, so that's even better. Jack Steele back to form with a 135, so and Will Ashcroft with a 124. So those people who traded him out a couple of weeks ago are probably a bit disappointed, but this is why we held on to him. A bit like Nick Dacos last year, we sort of knew that he would lift. I thought it was going to be after the buy, to be honest. I thought maybe they'll just sort of drag him into the buy, freshen him up, and he'll be good to go. But yeah, he's carving up. So I think he could be M8 for the longest time, if not the whole season. Chincotta, so didn't play, not sure if he's going to get back in the team. Johnson, I think was either the sub or got subbed out with 37. And Sharp with a 47. Well, that's probably about what we were expecting. But, going Oliver, man, we had to go that cheaper option instead of being able to bring in Humphrey, which, as we've said, is probably not the best move in hindsight. Into the rucks, Rowan Marshall, 126. So he's actually leapfrogged English in terms of price, which is pretty wild. And English with a 118. So, yep, they're doing well, the boys. And Samson Ryan with a 58. Obviously, And then Curvis was back this week, which limited his upside, but he still made us some cash and is potentially a player we could use this week to upgrade elsewhere. So then the forwards, and so pretty good all round. You can see Dunkley with a 153. So back to the good old days of Dunkley carving up and being F1. Taranto with a 118. So yeah, super consistent. Averaging 115 is awesome in the forward line. Golden with a 96. We were hoping for maybe a bit more against North Melbourne, but in the end, a good decision to stay away from him in terms of the B, C, and C conversation. Connor Rosie with the 140, so I guess, and even then was outshone by Butters with his 180. But 140 is awesome. We'll take that. Sheasel 112, so I think North did really well all around. I can't even remember who they played. Oh, they played Sydney. We just talked about that. But yeah, a couple of debutants doing the business as well. A bit of food for thought going into next week. And Seamus Mitchell with an 82. So that's a really nice pickup for him. Obviously, again, it was against the West Coast, so we expect closer to his average week on week, but this was the week to play him. And Angwin with a 21. So not sure what went on there. Might just have not been around it. And Roberts is still injured for a few weeks. So, in terms of our trades this week, we are sort of fast running out of trades, but it's getting to the buy season. So, I guess, we can probably afford one more upgrade and then, we're going to start playing the buys a bit. And so, I guess the play's always been to get Tommy Stewart in, or the plan has always been to get Tom Stewart in. So, if we get out of Buckley, and then I guess we have to make a decision on the second. So ideally, it was always going to be, or the ultimate plan was to get Sheasel back, and bring Stewart in, and then you've got a fully set defensive line. Like if I had those six in the defense for the rest of the year, I'd be okay with it. But I think the fact that we've got Weddle that's available there, um, means that we don't necessarily have to to put Sheasel up back. So I guess what we'll do to start with is we'll put Jones back because we just want Stewart in. And so we've got to make 162k. If we look at the break evens, so obviously Humphrey, he'd be great to get on, but we'd have to trade out a 440k player or 450k player to get him in, which we don't really have anyone in that category that's not Harry Sheasel, that's a keeper. Um, we could go early on like a Ford or he's not listed here, but Wardlaw. There's a bit of hype about him. Obviously, at the higher price makes it a bit harder to manoeuvre, but it is possible. Um, yeah, who else? So Constable's obviously not playing. Neither is Wagner. Baldwin, I mean, he's averaging 68. 60 and what must be 76. So, he might not be the worst shout. Um, while. So I guess like the other thing we do, I want Kieran Bridge with the ton first game. That's interesting. Might have to have a sneaky look at that. Fantasy stats. So 22 hit outs. Nice. Be great if he was playing West Coast sometime soon. But might have to look at why he was in there. Fleeton, I think, is the choice in defence if you wanted to go a defensive option. So he could trade out Jones and go with Fleeton. But I guess the other option that we have is we could go Ryan and then maybe go early on McAndrew. So I guess one of the advantages that we've had over a lot of other teams is that we didn't start with the bottom dollar, dead rookie in the ruck. So, a lot of people going with Madden. We tried to avoid that for the longest time. We had Radagalia. We then had Samson Ryan. And the thought was always, trying to generate cash at the start of the season. So this is sort of the time we could start looking at that, full-time loophole donut sort of option. But yeah, McAndrew's a good chance of getting some game time with Ladham's out. And I don't know what's happened to Hickey that he wasn't in, but yeah, obviously as you can see, McAndrew getting a game. Um, yeah, so we could do that. We could obviously go someone like a Moyle. He'll probably only play if Witts is out, in which case, he'll do quite well. We could go to Madden. That's just a bottom dollar, bank all the cash sort of deal. Or we can go with McAndrew. So, yeah, I'm leaning towards this sort of setup here because what that sort of allows us is, we've got a good defense. We've got Weddle that we can loophole as well. So if he goes big again, we'll play him over Jones. I think anything over 70 would probably seal the deal for me because we've got Constable there that we can loop through as well. The midfield. So I guess the issue with this is we do have Oliver still. So, you know, we don't have a lot of options in terms of backup unless, I guess, we swing one of these guys through. So Will Day, for example, we could play Weddle, and it's not ideal, but we could carry Oliver through because the thing is, we've got this week obviously, and then which we can cover, and then we get into the buys. So you only have to have 18 every week anyway. And if you have a look at my side, round 12 is actually a little bit dire with 20. And that would include Constable, Oliver, probably a couple others actually. Chincotta, yeah, probably won't play. Angwin, yeah. So, we can maybe make a move next week if need be. You got those North Melbourne guys on the bubble, so it could even be a couple of rookie corrections in the midfield to make that happen. So we could probably do well enough. Obviously, round 13 is not a non-issue. We're really well set for round 14 and even round 15. Um, I think actually round 14 is when Oliver has his bye. So, and that's about the timeline he's expected to come back anyway. So we'd have him for round 15. I think it's one of those things, if you trade him out, it's going to be very hard to trade him back in. So, yeah, we brought him in for a reason. I think we've got to keep the faith. But in saying that, if we were to trade him, so let's get rid of the buys. So trade him, and I think we're still going to trade Buckley as well. It does give us a lot of sort of options. I guess if we want to keep the two keepers, in a sense, we're not going to get top dollar option. We're probably going to end up with something like a Sinclair and then 540, maybe a Chad Warner, but yeah, it sort of feels a bit, sort of sideways a bit there with Oliver. Guess points on field would be good in the midfield. And we've still upgraded it back, but it's not Tommy Stewart. It's not that coverage across the other bye rounds. Because Windsor, we'll just go with Marshall then. Wins their bye. Oh, so they're one of the teams on round 12. So we already had some issues with round 12. Sinclair wouldn't help. I don't think Warner would help either. Very Goulden. I think they're round 12 bye as well. Yeah, so it's probably not the best option. So, yeah, I think we're going to have to carry Oliver. And we can do that with those trades that we just made. So, Ryan and Buckley out, Stewart and McAndrew in. So, yeah. And then, as I said, what we'll do, just carry him through. Just get Weddle on field, get Day on. The rest will be fine as is. So, not the worst shape of the team going into the bye rounds. It's very close to complete. If you know, consider you know, if we consider Will Ashcroft part of it, but even without, it's full midfield or, just missing one in defence, one in midfield sort of thing, and then one in the forward line. Cash generation's obviously been a bit of an issue, but again, if we've got these two guys from North go well again this week, we can sort of correct a couple of these guys, make that happen, and go from there. So there they are. Getting Zach Merritt would probably be the next target, but with a break even of 76 playing the West Coast, might be too late. So can we maybe wait on Stewart? The same price, 128. So what if we update the Stewart trade? So swap day back. Well, really, not quite. I was going to say, can we get Petrarca? That'd be pretty hot, but not going to happen. Rory Laird. Yes, we can get who we want, but I think I'm a bit scared of Merritt, so we get on him. We then have a full midfield, plus we've got Ashcroft to trade off later when we need to, which is pretty wild. But then obviously, we're short a couple of defenders, um, and and a forward. But yeah, the more I think about it, it could end up being this way. Bank that Stewart's not going to go off this week, and we can get him in next week somehow, maybe through Jones and someone. Maybe not. I guess the other thing too with round 12, we should get three trades without the boost, which obviously I don't have any. So that's the other thing to consider as well. And then also we're not far away from the mid-season draft, so we should get some fresh rookies coming through as well. So, we'll probably get the full premium by the end of the buys with a few trades up the sleeve, and then we'll just white knuckle it for the rest of the season. But yeah, in terms of the captaincy and vice captaincy this week, so Melbourne, well, actually we haven't got Oliver, so that's the non-issue. Well, Dacos very tempting against North as captain, but we've also got Merritt, so could we go VC on Merritt, C on Dacos? We could also see Dawson. Yeah, why not? Let's go a bit fresh and different. We've already committed to Oliver being benched. All right, cool. So I think that might be how we leave it for the time being. Yeah, I'm just thinking out, well, not out loud, but to myself about Oliver in, because I was thinking, oh, we've got one too many midfielders. We're going to bench someone, but I think once Oliver's back in, we cash out on Anderson. He'll become a defender nice and easily, or even a forward. So yeah, I was thinking, we've got a bit of money on Ashcroft. We've actually got a lot of money on Anderson. Might not be a season-long keeper. But yeah, we'll wrap the video up there, and I'll continue to ponder. If you've got any comments about the team, feel free to add them in the comment section below. If you're enjoying the AFL content, like the video. If you're enjoying all of the SuperCoach and other fantasy footy content, subscribe to the channel. And other than that, I'll catch you in the next one.